In this study, we aim to follow up on our previous examination of attitudes towards migration in Europe and which factors explain the huge differences in attitudes towards migration in Europe. That study focused on one point of time, namely on the turn of 2014 and 15. Our study now extends the time frame, and here we want to see how attitudes changed in Europe from before to after the so-called migration crisis. And also we wanted to see on a longer run how attitudes have changed. So data allowed us to look back to 2002. Every second year there are data.
In this report, we wanted to move beyond the very oversimplified narratives on migration and on the attitudes towards migration. We also wanted to provide some input for the debate that we believe is not just black and white, and there's space for more color. We used data from the European Social Survey, which is a survey that is carried out in every second year in many European countries. So this is a very rich and reliable source for data on big social trends that are happening in Europe.
What we saw, very interestingly, is that attitudes in Europe in general are very, very stable. They have not really changed in the past 16 years, not even huge crises like the 2008 economic crisis or the 2015 migration crisis have caused any significant change in terms of attitudes towards migrants.
We have found that the anti-migrant attitudes are the strongest in those countries where the migrants are hardly present, so where the majority of the population doesn't really have a chance to meet these people. But what there is, or what exists in these societies, is the lack of safety and control, which is a very important determinant in attitudes towards migration.
What we see also that from before to 2015 migration crisis to after this crisis, there has been a slight change in attitudes to how people think about accepting migrants, and this change is that people became more receptive towards migrants in general in Europe. Before 2015, 15% of the population said that they would not allow any migrants to come and settle from outside Europe, while now this share is only 10%.
We also demonstrated in this report that the so-called right-wing populist parties are the most successful in gathering and feeding that part of the population that is most hostile towards migrants. They provide an open terrain for rage fueled by uncertainty.
We also see that the divide within Europe has, in the same time, increased. Those countries that were negative about migration before the crisis became even more negative, and these countries include the region of Central East Europe, so former communist countries, as well to some extent, to lower extent, Austria and Italy, while Nordic countries as well as the UK, Ireland, Portugal, Spain became more open to migrants and accepting migration.